Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 49 of the Munch and Learn session. Today we have Alex Badan from GBB Electric Limited. Alex, welcome.
Thank you very much, Simak, for having me here and giving me this opportunity.
No worries. Alex, so let's just start off. Can you give us a quick introduction on what you do, just for our audience listening in?
Yeah, I'll be short and to the point. My name is Alex Badan, and I do represent GBB Electrical Limited. We are a commercial electrical services company, and we are mainly providing electrical services and assistance, design, installation, and maintenance to commercial and healthcare environment.
Okay, and when you say commercial and healthcare, what are some of the examples, some of the clients you've worked in commercial and healthcare?
So one of the few customers that we worked with from Brentford Stadium, Football Club, Amazon, Microsoft, we worked including for Network Rail and the TfL Transport for London. And also in the same time, we work for an American company that is building data centers here in UK, and it's called Equinix. It's a very big company. So that's what I'm saying. Commercial, also we've got experience in this side on the data centers. And the actual customer that we're working with, it's NHS.
Brilliant. Okay, so those seem to be like on the enterprise level and large scale. Talk to me about the small scale, small businesses or micro businesses. What kind of clients have you worked in out there too, on the commercial side?
We are covering from big commercial projects also to the small businesses and domestic. We are taking care pretty much of everyone. We are identified, for example, in the small businesses, the issue that they've got in the market, and we are making sure that we are working with them and providing them the assistance, and also in the same time when they need us, we are there. And of course, domestic, we all know that we are talking about big companies, but we all have a distribution board at home, and who knows, maybe someone just plugged the radiator in and before Christmas the power goes off or something like that.
Well, sounds familiar, doesn't it? Yes, I agree.
And I think you know very well how good it is to have an electrician that lives quite close to you, so you can call him every time when you need something.
Indeed. I'm not going to talk about that one for now, but let's start with your top 3 things that actually made you successful in business today and how others can follow in your footsteps. So what are the top 3 things?
Top 3 things. Well, it's a very good question. I think the first top 3 for me is learning, constant learning, taking action, basically applying what you learned. And the third one is reflection. If you do a proper reflection at the end of the day, at the end of the week, or depends on the situation they are going through, I think you have quite a lot to learn, because everything that is happening in our life, it will be a lesson to learn.
So what were the top 3 things you learned this month so far?
I will just go refer to the last project that I was planning and doing. For example, every time you do planning for a project you think is enough, and it's not enough. So you have to do some extra planning. We just done a job, and we under evaluate the project. So we said we understaffed the project, and also the challenges that we are thinking we're gonna face, it was completely different. And we basically we kind of stressed a bit about it, but what we did, we managed to calm ourselves and plan another day to finish the project that we are doing. And also the most important thing that I've learned is do management by delegation, not abdication.
Very good. Yes, and that's very good. That's a very good principle. In fact, we also teach out here to our clients. And now let's go back to your beginning, Alex. What made you actually decide to get into this business, and why this particular business?
I can't say that when I was very, very small or very young, I decided I'm going to be an electrician or I'm going to provide electrical services. But what I knew for sure, that I'm not going to work for anyone. My dad was an inspiration for me. He worked for himself. He was a doctor. He was a GP. So he worked as a self-employed. So I looked at him, and this thing, not having a boss for me, was one of the things. So I said, when I'll be a grown-up, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to have a boss. So this idea stuck to my head. And after that, of course, I tried different types of jobs, and I've realized I can't work under anyone. It's not because I can't work very well with people, but I couldn't find people to connect with. So that was the moment when I decided to start some small project. And I've done loads of stuff, from being a real estate agent, bartender, you name it. Even I've been a DJ. So I've tried all that. Then after that, of course, slowly but surely, I said, let me go into something more serious and going into construction. And I've basically niched down. And I found that one day doing some wires and I liked it. And I said, okay, I'll give it a try and see where it goes. And this is how everything started.
Brilliant. Well, it's a long way since you've come since then in terms of your success. Now, when we look at commercial, let's say small businesses for now, what are the typical, I would say, things to watch out for from a small business or micro business, right? Because they run a very tight ship, and anything that can happen on their premise can literally get their business down. Do you have any such examples, and can you share anything with us as to
Yes.
what they need to take care of?
So first thing on the small businesses, I know everyone is tight on budget, but what I would recommend to everyone is to have a good relationship with a contractor, if it's an electrician or it's a plumber or it's a constructor, because when you get an issue, if you don't have a good relationship with a contractor, you'll have to call someone in the market and you'll have some call-out charges that we know very well that are quite expensive. So, for example, we had a client. It was dental clinic. We've met the owner at one of our networking events. Next day in the morning, first thing at 9 o'clock, they called us. Unfortunately, we are so busy with another project in the hospital, we couldn't accommodate him for that day.
Right.
So we managed to sort him out in 24 hours, and we sort out his problem. But until we sorted out the room was out of service. So he lost basically business during that day. Let's assume that this owner had a good relationship with a contractor. And when this problem appeared, we can easily make sure that we know to prioritize this customer.
Right. Okay. And what are the things that a typical small business owner who has an office premise or a factory or a warehouse needs to be aware of in terms of the actual electric maintenance, keeping that in good health, or doing good health checks? So what should one do?
First thing will be to have a good PPM system in place, because small businesses, they never check their electrics and they think everything is fine and think something goes wrong. We've seen so many cases where we are going in this, for example, the electrics are not tested, they're not certified up to date. And they've realized that when something goes down, it drags something else as well. Mm-hmm. And you're just facing now a double cost. So I'll recommend, because the small business, they think the BPM is for the big companies, like commercial companies, but this applies to everyone, even in your
BPM?
house.
So can you just explain what BPM is for users who don't understand?
Yes, it's planned preactive maintenance. So rather than react to something, you plan in advance. So if something is happening, you are expecting that to go down or to repair it.
Good. And what happens in terms of costs when it comes to PPM? Again, small businesses, some of them are really tight on cash. They are running with little or no cash flow. So what does one need to consider when it comes to that?
Well, first thing, the major cost that will take out as PPM is that the work can be done during the working hours, and we know very well the tariffs for that type of work is less. If you don't do your PPMs and it's something happening over the weekend, out of hours, definitely the cost will be higher. So try to prevent the costs before something is happening in the out of hours or nights or weekends. Doing the PPMs in advance will give you the chance to plan. Even also in the same time, you can, for example, buy a piece of equipment at a better price, because when you are faced with a challenge and you want to put your business, for example, this customer that had the dental clinic, right, he didn't care about the price of the materials. He wanted that job to be done at that time. We can also help people to save money on that, rather than just go on the first supplier and just buy whatever the price will be.
Okay. How do you go about saving money for businesses?
Well, first thing first is we are always asking our customers to give us referrals, because as a business, as we very know, we are buying our customers or spend money with marketing to get customers. So if we don't spend the money on the marketing to buy new customers and the customers are getting referred to us, we can manage to give them a very good discount on this side to the customers.
Understood. And let's move on to commercial, a big companies that you worked with? You mentioned some data centers, Amazon. So what are the typical things that you've worked in out there? Obviously, you have confidentiality or NDA signed, but at a very high level, what was it? Design, planning, what all did you do? And if you take, let's take the Amazon, or let's take the NHS Trust.
Okay, so in Amazon, I'm allowed to say this. We had the opportunity to work in the first Amazon Go shop in London, that is in Ealing. At
All
that
right.
time, we were not allowed to say it, so we kind of know what's behind it. We worked in a partnership with another company on the design and installation project over there. And we've installed one thing that we can say, you've got in that shop, I think, around 50 or 60 cameras.
Oh, wow. Okay. Why don't you explain what is an Amazon Go shop for our listeners?
So Amazon Go shop is the first shop that is runs without staff. I don't know if you guys know, but it's just the shop that you just go in, you scan your phone, you pick up your product. No one is asking you to pay at the end, and you'll just get your invoice into the email. It's a yes, it's a free. Well, not a free, but it's a people free shop. There's no employees basically over there.
Yes, I know when it came up, there was a lot of hype about it. But in fact, there are a few more right now that have sprung up over
Yeah,
London too.
this project that I'm talking about, the first project they've done, it was in 2018. They've started. That was the first trial that it was in, and basically, I think it was in UK. That was the first magazine. But now I think they've got like 3 or 4 in London. Yeah.
Indeed, yes. And what about the NHS? Sorry, so you install cameras out there?
No, we install data, power, basically all the containment for it. That the electric has to be held into something. Uh, Electric is a
Brilliant.
big
Yes.
is a big variety that we are covering.
Okay, and excellent. And let's flip over to the slightly on the healthcare side. So on the NHS side, what all have you done? Because
Oh
you've been
well,
you're working extensively, right, for the past few years.
yeah, so the last 5 years we worked along with NHS in basically installation maintenance. We've got 5 hospitals underneath us. Here is a bit more complicated project because we are offering them from management services to quality supervisor services, maintenance and installation, and we are doing active maintenance and reactive. Sorry, active and reactive. Yes, planning and reactive. Sorry, planning and
Uh,
reactive maintenance.
Okay, so what does the management services mean, and reactive and planned services mean? Just for people
Well,
again listening in.
management is when you go and plan and do some work in the hospital. It's not that easy. You just book with someone. We have to make sure that all the departments are informed of the work that is carried out, the times, everything is agreed before. And this, I know it doesn't sound like, but it's quite a lot of work that you have to do pre starting the work, and that's the managing side. Also, in the same time, we've got our own team working on the site. We have to make sure that with maintaining the level of noise, clean, and of course the professionalism in the hospital.
Okay, and in terms of maintenance, what does it mean? Are you continuously on call outs to them at any given time?
Yes,
Okay.
we are basically, we are from Monday to Friday. We've got between 8 and 9 hours. We are on site, and also in the same time we are on the call out. We've got calls out in the middle of the night that they had no power. We are basically around 10-15 minutes from all the hospitals that we are doing maintenance. So
Okay.
we are covering them on the call out as well.
Okay, so that's good to know that someone is there to take care of mission critical stuff, especially at hospitals where patients are need those levels of access, right? And electrical and electronic stuff is needed all the time. So that's good out there.
Yes, exactly. Plus, we are dealing, as you very know, NHS doesn't have some 2024 hospitals. We are dealing with some 1966 hospitals, and the amount of work that it goes behind it is unbelievable. We've got a team in maintenance, basically, that are doing a bit more than electrical. And it's funny because when people they see us, they say, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" I said, "Basically, we are the guys behind this hospital, and we're making sure that this hospital got everything running, so you can benefit all the services from NHS, from the doctors and the nurses."
Great. Let's look at the hospitality sector, especially restaurants, because we have a lot of similar like B&Bs. So can you give us one case study, what you've done out there, how you helped resolve a customer's problems and what that involved? just to bring in more
Yes,
for the smaller
yes.
businesses?
Because it's funny because we've got pretty much customers from each department and sector. Yes, we are also helping customers in the hospitality environment. We got restaurants, more example. Again, it goes back to having a good relationship with a tradesman and having basically a tradesman on your book. Again, the restaurants, the problem that they have is like when something is happening with them, electrical, plumbing, whatever it is, they have to react quite quickly, because if they don't, they've got customers in that they have to take care of, and if they don't do that, they lose money, and the last thing that they want is to lose money. And to save money here, the only thing that I would say is, yes, having a contractor that you know and you are using all the time, because using the contractor all the time is going to give them like the certainty that they've got more business coming out of you, so they can give you a bit of a discount, and that's how they can save money. I will tell a funny story. We had a customer who asked us to connect one of his pizza cookers.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he just took the new restaurant and everything. He told us that is a bit of a problem with the money, but he said, Alex, no worries. Every time you come here, you'll have pizza for free, you and your family. So basically now, every time we go, we got pizza for free, me and my family.
That's brilliant. And what are the other typical things that you see with restaurants? What are your typical challenges you see?
The challenges in restaurant is that because the owners of the restaurant, they want to try to do everything cheap, where the mistake that they are doing very cheap tradesmen, and they don't
Right.
check. For example, they're using builders. We've seen in one of the restaurants, they've used builders that they've got their own electrician that they were not qualified. And after that, they had some problems with the electrician. We realized that they spent quite a lot of money to refurbish the whole restaurant. And now they have to take basically everything out and rewire it, because whatever the electrician was doing, it wasn't right. And
Right.
the other problem is because they didn't have no one to basically guide them or help them. People, they're afraid to ask for help. And for example, if you got a company, an electrical company like we are, yes, and we are offering consultancy, we are coming and we'll be working for you, not against you. You can call us, we can come around and we can have a look, make sure that your contractor, it does a good work, and of course, according to the standards.
Okay, great. So, which brings me to the next question. What are typical questions, let's say, a person needs to ask from an electrician to know that he's properly qualified? What would be your top 3 questions you would help someone maybe in the commercial business and the small business side to know that they've got the right level of engagement, a well-qualified contractor who's an electrician?
Well, it's basically with electricians, what they have to do is they have to improve every year. So we are taking courses and seminars every year because, as you know, technology improves every year. We have to keep up to date. It's one main thing that you can find out if your electrician is fully qualified is to ask him if he's registered with the government body. There are 2 of them in UK. One is called NAPIT and the other one is NIC EIC. Usually to register with this company, you'll have to go through some checks, assessments, and also in the same time, they're checking if they got insurance, proper insurance, if they got the experience necessary to do the work they're carrying out, because they divided the contractors in domestic and commercial. So some electrician, they have the status, the domestic installers. So you can check that on the NAPIT website or NIC website.
Okay.
And all the accreditation has to be sent prior to the assessment. And after that, once you get that accreditation, you basically, this tells the customers, don't worry, this guy is qualified and he does a very good job. And another good thing is that every year we have to redo this assessment to make sure we are keeping our level of standards. We've got the right insurance in place. And of course, we are basically on the good track. Another thing that they are doing, and the customer, they have to know, we are also assessed by, for example, by surprise. If we are doing a job, works more in commercial, the customer can request to the NICIC to send an inspector, exactly like I said, the consultancy, to check our work that is up to standards. So that will be the first thing. The second thing will be to ask him how long he's been in the trade, and basically what is he doing. He's doing commercial, he's doing domestic. If you talk with them, they will tell you what they are doing, what they are good at and what they are not. Because now these days, for example, we've got the electric side that is the renewable side of electrics or electrics. and it's not all the electricians that they are doing that. So having
Right.
a chat with him before asking what he's doing, basically is commercial, domestic, or renewable, that will give you a very good example what he's doing. And the third one is like just have a look a bit of when they are coming in, see if they have got the right attitude and they know what they are doing. Because usually the first thing electrician they were gonna do, they were gonna ask you where is the consumer unit or the distribution board, and you know for sure they are going pinpoint to what they're asking rather than just going around and just looking at your lights.
Okay. All right. So good stuff. So you mentioned NCIEC, and then also
And
you
I
can
see, I see, and
see,
not that it's
and
it's, it's the main thing.
they can look up that particular contractor on that list and find whether they are
Yes,
registered.
each contractor they are given a number, and with that
Right.
number you can go on the NAPET or NICIC website, and on the website they were going to tell you exactly all the details about the company, if it's a domestic, if it's a commercial, if you can do rented properties testing,
Right.
and all
Okay.
the information are there. So I will say this is your safe zone on domestic, on commercial. I'm not saying that who's not approved is not a good electrician. Also, the things that they have to do is that when we do some work in customers' environment, commercial, domestic, we have to report back to the council. Depends on the type of the work.
Right.
If you are NICIC or NAPET approved, you can do it through this app. If not, you have to call the council. It's a bit a longer process.
All right. Okay. And what about sites like, is it Checker Trade? Do they also do similar checks? Because I know a lot of domestic consumers actually go and look at that a site when they want an electrician or any kind of contractor, right? So do they do? Are you aware of it?
Check what they do. Basically, they ask the electrician if they are NICIC or NAPET approved. So if you go there, they also do their all checks. Exactly, they ask for qualification and insurance, but they don't ask for example, like NICIC and NAPET very specific. It's just a bigger variety of it. As I say, if you got your qualification, certain the diplomas, and you've got your insurance, check it will approve you. And of course, I think it's like some reference from your customer from previous work. But checker trade is good as well. But I would say with checker trade, just be careful, because in there you might find some other people that are not very good.
Sure. All right. Okay. And let's so just bringing this back home, how did you personally have to grow, or what did you most have to learn to create your success?
I think the main thing that I have to learn was basically communication. How to communicate, because if you don't know how to communicate with your customers or whoever, you can't do anything. It doesn't matter if you're up here and you are number 10, but your communication is at level 3, people will perceive you, will see you as number 3. So one of the things that I had to learn, and I've done it during these years and I'm still working at it, is how to have a very good communication and how to put a message out there to make sure that I'm not misunderstood.
Brilliant. Well done. I'm pretty sure people listening on to this podcast, they will concur with you in terms of your communication, right? So good. So let's look at business coaching very briefly for a minute. Why did you get one, and what did it do for you and your business? Even though it may be a little early in your journey, but tell us something more.
This is the point where I've got to tell everyone the very good thing what the business coach can do. Well, first, when I was looking at business coach, I've heard about coaching, and I was thinking that it's not for me. And I said, no, I will do it by myself. I can do it by myself, because pretty much all my life I've done all the business by myself. But what I realized, that you'll get to one point where you can't go to the next level. It's not because you can't do it, you don't have the knowledge. It's because you'll need a bit of extra help. And that help, you can get it from someone that is outside. I can be a bit seeing a bit different the things about you. For example, with me, starting the coaching was the first meeting was, I think it's just like everything. The coach, an amazing coach. Yeah, so he told me that rather than trying to chase all the goose, why I don't focus on what I'm doing best. So I think coaching can help you to pinpoint basically, and also holds you accountable. One of the things that if you don't have a boss, is no one to keep that accountable. And it's not only because he's seen as authority, but you know, when you gave your word to someone that you'll do something, it doesn't have to come back and tell you, oh, why you haven't done that, because it's your own growth that you are working at.
Brilliant. You mentioned a very important point of the focus, right? So, niche. What did you change in your business as part of that journey? What did you kind of adapt to?
I basically what I did, I prioritized the commercial side, because what I was doing until now, I was running basically after all the customers, doesn't matter how big or small it was, not realizing that the experience that I've got behind is I can help so many customers on this side, on the commercial side. So what I decided is, like, now we are focusing more on the commercial side, to offering our services towards more hospitals and looking this kind of customers.
Great. And final question: what is the top piece of advice you got or would give to another entrepreneur?
This piece of advice had been given to me by someone that is quite old in business. Have the willingness to learn in life. Be willing to learn. Doesn't matter what you are doing. Be willing to learn, and definitely you'll manage to do it. Because, like, for example, you want to dance and you are not good at it, just learn and you will becoming good at it. It's the same thing with the business or everything you do. Just be willing to learn.
Brilliant. Okay. And what's the book you're reading right now?
I'm reading a book about referrals.
Okay.
How to build a business based on referrals. A thing that we are not thinking at it, and basically it's less costly than the other cost of marketing, getting new customers.
Oh, that's a brilliant one. Who's written the book? What's the name of the book, just for our audience listening in?
It's instant referrals
Okay.
from Bradley J. Sugar.
All right. Great. Excellent. Any last piece of advice you want to give?
Yeah, knowledge is power only when you take action. That would be my last piece of advice. So take action. Don't be just a librarian sitting there and building knowledge. Use it.
Brilliant. Excellent. Alex, thank you very much for today. We really enjoyed having you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a lovely day.
You too. Take care. Bye for now. Bye.